I'm going to try to present you here an actual usage of PM² in a project that is not a typical H2020, a typical research project. It's a pilot project started from DG-CNECT. It's called the euCONSENT, and I'm going to give you some insights on the usage of the methodology. And but I will start with who we are, what we are doing, and the challenges we had during this the execution of this project. I'll start first of all with some information about UpcoMinds. UpcoMinds is a services company. We excel in 2 or 3 different areas, such as digital process automation. We do a lot of custom implementations, websites, C-shops, mobile applications, all towards the mid to higher end of the market. And we're trying in this way to help our clients to become more competitive in this difficult world. We also help companies with specialized personnel. So in the area of IT always, helping them to achieve their goals quickly. We believe outsourcing is very important in today's world. With the technology changing daily, having skilled personnel is very difficult, and especially update the skill set of your own employees is always difficult. So when new projects need to be executed and delivered in time, you need quickly skilled personnel, which can be provided by companies that are specialized in handling these, managing these people. So outsourcing is very important for us, as well as what we call managed IT services. It's another activity of the company where we try to help organizations outsource the burden of managing their IT infrastructure and their IT users, either internal or external. Our goal is to deliver a competitive advantage to our clients, mainly using technology. So we can do that either by delivering services that are extremely cutting edge and being able to provide this advantage to the client organization, or at the same time delivering solutions, IT solutions, IT or technology solutions overall, to our clients that will make the difference. We do focus a lot on what we call the customer experience, and we believe that this is the game changer in today's world. We ourselves are focused on the customer experience of our own clients, but we don't stop there. We try to go a step further and help our clients and our partners, as we call them, to achieve great customer experience for their own end users, which is very important to be able to maintain engagement with our clients and at the end achieve this competitive advantage towards their competition. Now, another player in the project that I'm going to present you later on is AGFI, and AGFI is an age verification provider that started as of from UpcoMinds. We offer multiple different methods to authenticate, to check the age of a user. So imagine that you would like to buy alcohol from a website or an online commerce. Normally, alcohol is prohibited. The buying of alcohol is prohibited for minors. You need a quick way and an easy way to check that the user that is about to buy a bottle of alcohol is an adult. This is what AGFI is doing. AGFI is a spin-out of UpcoMinds. It started as a European project, an H2020 project in reality. Up to now, it's apart from this initial funding from the Commission, it's totally self-funded. And I am quite glad to say that we are recognized internationally. this solution is in the minds of several huge organizations, social media platforms that we all know about, and they talk about it daily. Now, I'm gonna do a very short introduction to the project that we are discussing, and which is the case study that I'm going to present of PM². euCONSENT is a project that started from DG-CNECT. It's what they call a pilot project. So the tendering process was similar to an H2020, but without some special characteristics. It's not under the umbrella of H2020. The important thing to note here is that it initiated by a request from the European Parliament, because they realized that there was a need for what they call an interoperability framework that would allow different solutions in the age verification and the parental consent domain to be able to work together. We see more and more solutions coming up in the market. AGFI is not a single solution in the market that can solve the problem of age verification. We realize that there is a problem with parental consent. According to GDPR, minors under the digital age of consent are obliged to ask their parents for consent when they want to share their personal data for processing. And this is something that is not universally easy to achieve. There are many difficulties, technical difficulties in achieving this goal. And on top of that, the Commission and the European Parliament realized that this cannot be fragmented and be done by individual solution providers across Europe, with end users that are moving from one country to the other and trying to see what will be what they can do in the other country. So in order to achieve this freedom of movement across Europe, it is important that we start talking the same language. And that was the purpose from day one of this project, trying to achieve interoperability between the different AV and parental consent providers. Therefore, it is a project of major importance for the European Commission. And we have seen that in recent communications with the officers in the European Commission. Now, just some details about the project. There are 12 partners involved from 7 different countries. The total funding is 1.5 million euros, 18 months duration. And that was something that the partners that were used to typical European projects, research projects, found that 18 months was a very short duration. And we faced some challenges because of that. And well, to conclude, we are the coordinator, the project coordinator. Therefore, we had to find solutions about the management of this project. Now, what's the promise of euCONSENT is to protect children from harmful content online. This is trying to find technical solutions on how to be able to achieve that. At the same time, there are different initiatives from the European Commission and the European Parliament, overall the European institutions, that are expressed by the directives and the regulation, the AVMSD directive and the GDPR regulation, that have not been properly addressed technically in the past, in relation, obviously, to children. Therefore, it is one of the challenges of the project is to offer interoperability between the age verification and parallel consent providers. But it was also important that we managed to involve all the stakeholders in the solution. And that was a requirement from the Commission when they launched this call for expression of interest. Now, what we came up with was a solution that was based on the eIDAS framework. For those of you that don't know, eIDAS is the framework that allows government identity solutions like TaxisNet in Greece, Tax on Web in Belgium, and other countries to exchange the same identity across different countries. So as a user of TaxisNet, I should be able to log into a government institution in France or in Germany based on the eIDAS framework. On the other hand, even though we believe that eIDAS is a great network for interoperability of identity information, we wanted it to be an independent network that would coexist with eIDAS. Therefore, euCONSENT is an independent network of for age verification about consent only. We collaborate with eIDAS, but we are not part of it. Now, it is important, and it was important from day one, that any age verification or parallel consent provider could join this network, and we take some measures for that. But on the other hand, we want to guarantee that this network was a network that maintained its status and its brand name, let's say. Therefore, a certification process is required in order for any AV or parallel consent provider to join the network. Therefore, we started a standardization process, and we're in the process of, we have already submitted a draft to the ISO organization. Now, the stakeholders, and this is one of the most difficult parts to look at, are the children, the parents, the citizens overall, and as well the children organizations. We have to talk to all of them. This is the first group that we have to talk. These are the, I would say, the consumers of the solution. These are the people that are more affected by any solution. An age verification or parental consent solution will definitely create some blocks, some filters to what children can do, to what citizens can do. We look at it from both sides. It might be that we would like to restrict access to harmful content for children, but we would also like to restrict access to adults to content that is destined only for minors. Imagine a small group of children talking with each other, and then suddenly an adult infiltrating in that group. This is not something that we want, and that's why we try to offer solutions in that area. So these are at least 4 different stakeholders that are very interesting for us, and we try to talk to them. Then we have the EU institutions, the governmental, let's say, aspect, the EU institutions, the regulators, and professional associations that may be interested in that domain, as the ones that are offering that solution at the end are using that solution from the side of from the controlling side. And then finally, we have the AV and parallel consent providers, video providers, social media providers, gaming platforms, and the rest. So if you look at the range of stakeholders that we had to get involved in this project is quite big. I'm glad to say that we have managed to achieve that. Now, the challenges that we had, you might think that multiple partners, 12 partners is not too much for a European project. Yeah, in the specific case, it turned out to be quite a lot, but that was the most difficult part. There has been a significant integration effort, and that one is not something that you don't regularly find in European projects. But the too many stakeholders, I can tell you that it was one of the first projects that came across so many different stakeholders. From children to parents to regulators to organizations that associations that want to promote the interest of social media or gaming platforms or anything else. So it was a very difficult challenge, and we had to use a methodology that would allow us to manage all that. We had to have a continuous follow-up because the project had an 18-month duration. We are in the middle of a project right now. So we wanted to have something that would allow a continuous follow-up. We agreed to have an advisory board that helps a lot, because this advisory board manages to bring together all the different stakeholders and be able to talk to each other. And we also decided to work on multiple workshops so that we can engage with end users, like children, parents, citizens, adults, anybody. Now, all that turned out to be a difficult task for the management of the project. And it's good that at the end, we realized that PM² is the solution for the management of such problems. So we started using it with the help of Nikos and Elias. So we with their help, we defined the problem. The definition of the problem was partially done during the tendering process, but on the other hand, there were a few issues that were very important. Define the roles, specify who is doing what in this project, and on top of that, define the scope of the project. Even today, one of the typical questions that we get is whether we're offering age verification as a platform, or we are offering we are a facilitator for others to offer this solution. That was clear for us from day one, because we have put it as well in the project charter. So all the partners were aligned with that, and that helped us quite a lot during the project, in order not to have diversions. The project stakeholder matrix was very important, as we managed to identify all the stakeholders and define them there. Now, the second step was to describe the solution, the project planning phase. We created a project handbook and a detailed work plan. Most of that information came from the actual proposal that we have submitted to the Commission. And then we started the management, planning the management of the project. Lots of different plans, the requirements management plan, risk management plan, issue management plan, quality management plan, change management plan. We used all these because we think that they are very important. They proved quite important in the next phases of the project. So in terms of execution, when we started running the project, one of the first things we did was setting up meetings, regular meetings. And during those meetings, first of all, we looked at the status of the project using the project status template that was provided by the PM² methodology. Now, in terms of meetings, we used, I have the numbers next to each template, so that if you would like, you can go directly and use those templates in your own projects. I mean, in meetings, we used all the time, we used meeting agendas and means of meeting, the template that was there. Great help. Only the template saves you, the templates available saves you incredible amount of time in order to manage this project. But overall, the methodology gives you the tools and the way to actually manage your project without a problem. Now, the deliverables, I'm going to stick to that a little bit because we had some issues in the beginning. In the typical projects where you have many partners, what happens is that each partner delivers each piece, more or less. And then somebody reviews quickly last day whether what has been delivered by the others is good, and then they deliver it. And then, yeah, the fight starts inside the project. Yeah, we didn't like this, I didn't like the other. So to clear that out, we moved to, we used the templates that were provided by PM², but we extended that a little bit. So we have the delivers, we built the delivers acceptance plan that defined exactly the process on how we're gonna submit deliverables. Before we submitted, what are the steps in order to arrive there. But the thing that we did mainly is that we agreed that we'll have a deliverable acceptance checklist for every deliverable. So who are the persons and the organizations that have to review the deliverable before it is submitted? What are the steps, and who has to sign off the deliverable before it is submitted? That helped us considerably, because we had in the first deliverable that was just before we managed to set up the complete project. It was a very early deliverable. That one, we had some disagreements at the end after it was delivered. By using the deliverable acceptance checklist, that is a problem of the past anymore. Now, in terms of project execution, another big challenge was managing the stakeholders. So, because there are people coming in and out all the time, and there are interests from new existing organizations, but continuous interest for the project, we needed to have this stakeholder checklist so that we know who we talk to, what are their role, what do they influence. A very important document that we keep. Managing the risks as well. We had cases, partners leaving the project. So we had to identify the risk from day one. So we kept everything in a risk log, and with proper mitigation measures, so that when things arrived, then we could manage, we were able to address them without putting the entire project in risk. We had a couple of late deliveries, for instance, that would have caused problems if we were late in identifying the problem and working together between work packages in order to try to address those issues as soon as possible. Overall, the risk log helped us extensively, trying to manage the problematic areas of the project. Issues and changes. Mainly, most of these issues and changes have been, we didn't have that many changes, I must admit. Everything that was issues, we used automated logs, actually. So we use systems that are provided by other service providers in order to do the issue management and the change log management. But all of them, they follow more or less the templates that are in PM². Now, finally, it was important to register and log the decisions that we took along the lines of the project. Most of these decisions were not even related to the project structure itself. Project structure, I mean the partners and their interaction, but there were decisions that were taken at the technical level, for instance, important decisions. Which way do we go technically? Those decisions are written in the decision log, and anybody can go and have a look at them. Finally, the reporting. We're using the template right now, the progress report template, in order to submit our report to the Commission for the half stage period. And finally, we haven't arrived there to the end of the project, but upon closure, we're definitely going to use the project end report in order to showcase the achievements of the project, but also the lessons learned from this project and how we can achieve better results in future projects. Thank you very much for your time. I hope that it was interesting for you to follow, and I'm open to any questions that you may have.